Welcome to the Brick Velocity Podcast, the show dedicated to helping you maximize your returns by buying and selling Lego. Each episode, your host Ryan will break the stereotypes of investing in Lego, and you can use that advantage to boost your long-term profits. Now, on to the show.
Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Brick Velocity Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. Today, we are going to talk about superhero sets and my picks for my favorite retiring superhero sets that are going to leave shelves by the end of 2021. We're going to talk about 4 sets today in detail, and then I'll give a couple of notes about a couple of others and list off a few others that I think are good, but maybe not quite in this top echelon of sets that I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to start with set 76173. This is SpiderMan and Ghost Rider versus Carnage. This is my favorite of the superhero sets, and as a general rule, I include under the umbrella of superhero sets, both Marvel and DC Comics sets. I'm not going to talk about any DC sets today because none of them really fit the criteria that I look for when investing in retiring sets. But I don't have a separate episode ready for DC or anything. They just all happen to be Marvel sets this year. So 76173. It's a set that's only been out for a year. Came out earlier this year in January. It's got 3 minifigures and a couple hundred pieces. It's a $20 set. It's been sort of regularly priced at $16, so you can get it all day long for $16, basically no matter what store you go to. And it has a really, really strong Amazon rank. It's currently a little over 1,000 at that 20% off price tag, which is very strong. If you go to some of the sort of softer considerations, Carnage tends to do well. They've only printed Ghost Rider minifigure twice. The first one was in another SpiderMan set a few years ago. And that one did very well. But just looking at sort of the objective criteria of, in our sort of price range, the $20 to $40 price range, or $10 to $40 price range that I really like, and then holding a very good Amazon rank and being a relatively short shelf life, this sort of ticks all of the boxes that I like about superhero sets. It's also a small box, and you could ship this in a padded envelope for first class mail, because I think it would weigh under a pound, even with that added protection for shipping. So there's a lot to like about this particular set. It has been discounted for most of its life. It hasn't gone out of stock on Amazon in any real degree, so that we can see what happens to the price when it does go out of stock. But it certainly has performed very, very well so far. So this would be my number 1 pick. I would be surprised if this wasn't in my top 5 or 6 most held sets by the end of 2021 when I'm done buying sets for next year. And I would also be shocked if this wasn't a $40 set by next Christmas. Might even be higher than that. It really depends on how much hoarding goes on for this set. But given that it's only seen and will only see one Christmas cycle, I think it's going to have a fairly low supply out there in the market. So this is one that I'm definitely targeting, especially if I can find it with some additional discounts. Target occasionally runs sales where they give you a $10 gift card if you buy $50 in Lego, or Kohl's can sometimes run sets on sale and give you Kohl's cash on top of it, effectively reducing your price down to 14 or maybe even less. This is a set that if it starts to disappear from the shelves, I'm going to start picking it up at full price from Barnes & Noble or what have you, places that sell it at full price, $20. So this is the best set that I think is on the market this year for superheroes. The second and third set I'll kind of talk about in tandem because they're very similar sets. The first one is 76169. This is the Thor mech armor set. And also 76171, which is the Miles Morales mech armor set. These are similar sets. They look similar. It's a mech with a minifigure. They've both been on the market just a year. They both came out in January of this year. The Thor set, they're both $10 MSRP sets, and have both been basically at that $10 price range for their entire life. The sets that are only $10 don't tend to get discounted a lot in the market, and these sets have both been sort of at that $10 mark, maybe down to $9 at some retailers from time to time. And they both have outstanding Amazon ranks. These smaller sets tend to, and this is a unique set. It's probably not going to get reprinted anytime soon. So they're going to continue this line of making mechs. That's pretty clear. They retired a SpiderMan mech last year, I believe. And so they have a couple other mechs that are out there. An Iron Man mech. But these both have, when they're in stock at Amazon, they have Amazon ranks under 1,000, which is outstanding. The Thor one actually recently went out of stock at Amazon. It's still in stock at Target and Walmart and all those other sort of normal places, but it's out of stock at Amazon. It's a $15 set if you want the cheapest prime shipped set, and its rank is still only 4,000, which is really, really good for 50% over its MSRP. These are cute little sets. They package well, they ship well. So overall, I like both of these. And given their uniqueness and the fact that there are others that are out there in the line that are still available and going to be sold for some time, I think that they will continue to hold some popularity in the aftermarket once they do finally retire. Both sets are not available from Lego.com. You have to get them from other retailers. Thor's is marked as sold out, which is usually a good indicator that it's going to retire and won't be restocked. The Miles Morales set is marked as temporarily out of stock, which means there may be one more restock at Lego.com. But in general, both are excellent sets, and I would expect that I'll hold a good number of both of them by the end of the year. And then the fourth set that I want to talk about briefly is set number 76170. It's called Iron Man versus Thanos. This is a set that's marked as 4+ on the box, which means it would have originally had, if the juniors line still existed, it would be a juniors set, which, using sort of other types of analysis like price per piece and things, means you'd likely miss this set. But I think it's going to be a strong, have some strong returns once it finally retires. Like the others that I talked about today, this set came out earlier this year. It actually didn't come out on January 1st. It came out on March 1st. So it's only going to be on shelves for 9 months. It's targeted towards more junior builders. So if you have a kid who's 4 or 5 and really likes Iron Man, this is going to be a set that you're going to be drawn to, whether it's still in production or not. It's a $20 set. It only has about 100 pieces, so it does have a very high price per piece. So again, that's where price per piece can be a little misleading. But again, its Amazon rank is sterling, which is it's right around 1,000 right now at full price, $20, which indicates that it will perform very well once it retires. It's been full price for basically its entire life. It's not really been discounted all that much, which is another good indicator that there won't be a ton of supply out there, because there haven't been these massive sales for resellers to stock up on the set. It's a nice small box. It has everything that I really look for when I'm looking for a set. And I do like to sprinkle in some of these 4+ sets. They have the downside of not really being appealing to adults that want to have display pieces of sets in their homes, but they have the upside of being targeted towards a niche of Lego consumers, the 4 and 5-year-old children that don't really have a lot of other sets that are being targeted towards them. So there aren't tons of STEM toys, buildable STEM toys that you can buy for a 4 and 5-year-old. So, it's not like it's competing against 15 other buildable sets with Iron Man in them. There just aren't that many, and there may not be an Iron Man set that's in the 4+ range for next year. So if your child really likes Iron Man or Thanos, there's a Thanos figure in this as well, then this is going to be a set that you're going to buy, even if it's $30 instead of $20 or maybe even $40. So I wouldn't be shocked to see this one, double in price in the next year. I'll certainly be targeting it, and we'll have a few by the end of the year. Because it just ticks all the boxes. This is a particularly strong year, in my opinion, for superhero sets. There are a lot of them that I like a lot. These 4, I think, are better than the rest of the bunch, but there's a few others that I would certainly look for, especially if I got them on decent discounts. 76172, the SpiderMan and Sandman Showdown. 76174, the Spider-Man's Monster Truck. 76152, Wrath of Loki. I think all of those are very good sets and will do very well, just maybe not quite as well as these 4. And I'd like to talk briefly about 2 other sets that actually, I think, technically retired earlier this year, or at least kind of disappeared from shelves earlier this year. The first one is 76150. This is Spider-Man Spider-Jet versus Venom Mech. This is a set that I believe is, I actually haven't checked, but I believe is marked as retired or sold out from Lego.com. Has not been available there for a very long time. And is basically barren from the shelves at retail. It's already up to $45. This was a $30 set MSRP. It's already up to $45 on Amazon with a really strong sales rank. I think its sales rank is right around 5,000, which is great for already 50% over its MSRP. The other set that I want to talk about is 76125, which is the Iron Man Hall of Armor. This is a $60 set. It actually was out of stock at Amazon for quite a while and had popped up into the $70 or $75 price range there, and has been basically off of shelves for the last few weeks. Did pop back into stock at the full $60 price on Amazon, but is really not available anywhere else. It's out of stock on Amazon or at Walmart and Target. So it may be that Jeff Bezos found another pallet or 2 of these, and they might be out of stock again within the next day or 2. But these are both sets that have kind of disappeared from the market. But here and there, especially at like a specialty retailer that's kind of off the beaten path, like a Barnes and Noble, you can go on their website and see if there's a handful of these that are available. I picked up a couple of each of them just last week at a local Barnes and Noble, and so you can find them, and with the Barnes and Noble discount, you can get a set that's already proven itself to be a winner for say 10% off of market price with the Barnes and Noble discount. So I encourage you to go onto their site and see if there just happen to be some available in your neck of the woods, or keep your eye out for these 2 sets if you happen to see them sort of lying on a shelf at some retailer where maybe they got missed or what have you. This isn't a set that you're going to be able to go deep in now and get 20 or 30 copies of it, unless you're willing to drive a lot of miles to get them. But it might be something that if you want something that's maybe a little bit more of a proven commodity, maybe a little bit less of it on the market, has already shown that it will provide some returns. These are 2 great sets to target, and I'll certainly be keeping my eye out for them. Okay, that's our show for today. So thanks everybody for listening. Please tell a friend about this podcast if you enjoyed what you heard. Leave us a rating and review wherever you download podcasts, and we'll hope to see you next time. Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Brick Velocity Podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the show and give us a rating and review. See you next time.